Good morning, sixth grade. I hope that you're doing well today. I wanted to go over some information about using context clues. And I know that's something we've talked about from time to time, but I wanted to be able to review it with you for two different reasons. The first reason being that um, you're reading The Giver, and you're going to probably come up with some words that you don't know. You're going to see words, and I want to give you some tools to using context clues to figure out what those words mean. The other reason for my sixth graders that I want to go over this now is that for our vocabulary on Friday, I'm going to ask you to use context clues and write sentences to demonstrate that you understand what the words mean and that you can use them in the proper part of speech. So I want to go over 4 types of context clues with you this morning so that you can know what different types of context clues you have. So first of all, when you're defining a difficult word, if you're asked to define a word like garrulous, what might you guess it means? You might think of what the word looks like or what it sounds like or what it reminds you of. And if you have nothing else but the word, those would not be a bad place to start. But what if you read the word in a sentence? Unlike his quiet and low-key family, Brad is garrulous. If we're using the context clues from this sentence, we can see that they start off by saying unlike his quiet and low-key family. So if he is unlike his quiet and low-key family, he must be the opposite of quiet or low-key. So we could guess that garrulous might mean outgoing, loud, very busy. So we're looking for, in this case, this is giving us opposites. Unlike his quiet and low-key family, Brad is garrulous. So we're taking that garrulous must be the opposite or the antonym of quiet and low-key. So let's go through that again. Unlike his quiet and low-key family, Brad is garrulous. If we read these words in a sentence, you might be able to determine the meaning based on the context clues. So in this sentence, the context, which are the words that are surrounding the new vocabulary word, provide clues to help you determine that garrulous means talkative. He's not quiet, he's not low-key, so he is talkative. There are different types of context clues that we can use. So the first one is using examples. An author might give you an example to help you understand the meaning of an unknown word. So in this example, Suzanne had many ailments, including a rash, allergies, and a chronic headache. The examples, rash, allergies, and headaches, help you figure out that the word ailment means a minor illness. So we go back and we look at this. Suzanne had many ailments, including a rash, allergies, and chronic headaches. So ailments they're trying to show us examples of ailments. A rash is an example of an ailment. An allergy is an example of an ailment, and chronic headaches are examples of an ailment. So therefore, we can determine that ailments mean a minor illness. Another type of context clues is using synonyms. A context clue can be in the form of a synonym. So a word that means the same or almost the same as the unknown word. A synonym may appear anywhere in a passage to provide the same meaning as the unknown word. Here's an example of that. My doctor said smoking could terminate my life, but I told him everybody's life has to end sometime. So the synonym that helps us understand what terminate means here would be the word end, which we can see right here. So everybody's life has to end sometime. Another way we could rewrite this sentence to use a synonym would be, my doctor said smoking could terminate or end my life. But I told him that everyone's life has to end sometime. So you can also put your synonym right after the word that you're defining. Either one of those would work. So again, using synonyms is another example of a context clue. The next one we're going to look at is using antonyms, and this can be used in the same way as the synonyms, except you set it up to show the opposite. So an antonym, as you know, is a word that means the opposite of another word. Antonyms as context clues are often signaled by words or phrases such as however, but, yet, on the other hand, or in contrast. Many people have pointed out the harmful effects that cell phones in school have had, yet there are many salutary effects as well. So in this case, we start off with the antonym of salutary, which would be harmful. So using the context clue harmful, we can figure out that salutary means the opposite of harmful, which in this case is beneficial. Another way that you could have written this sentence would be, many people have pointed out the harmful effects that cell phones have, but I would rather pay attention to the salutary effects that they can have. So that's just another example of how we could use antonyms. All right, yet a fourth way that we can use context clues would be with a general meaning. So sometimes it takes a bit more work to figure out the meaning of an unfamiliar word. And when this happens, you must draw conclusions, make inferences, and ask questions about the information that is given with the word. And when you're coming across a word in a book, this might be the most common one that you'll have, because they're not making context clues on purpose. So you may need to use the context more often than not. Let's look at this example. An employee, irate over being fired, stormed out of the office, pushing everyone in his way. So using this information in the sentence, we know that a man had been fired. We know that he stormed out of the office, and we know that he was pushing people. So we can assume that this man is angry. And angry is actually the meaning of irate. So if we go back and we read that sentence again, an employee who was irate over being fired stormed out of the office, pushing everyone in his way. Irate means angry. So going over these 4 different types of context clues can help you not only with understanding words in the giver, it can also help you as you are doing your examples for your vocabulary test, which is going to be on Friday. So when I'm going to be grading your vocabulary test, or the vocabulary assignment you're doing in lieu of a test, or I should say a quiz, there are 4 types of ways I'm going to be looking for you to use context clues. You can use examples. So you would be the author. And when you're using an example, you are giving examples of what the words mean in your sentence, just like this. You could use a synonym. And when you're using a synonym, you're including one of those other words in our book or on the online definitions to explain what the word means. So like in this example, the way I would write this would be, again, my doctor said smoking could terminate or end my life. And then I would know that you know that terminate means end. All right, when you're doing that test, the third way that you can do that is by using an antonym and showing the opposite of what the word means. And again, usually those are going to be signaled by words like however, but, yet, or on the other hand. And then the fourth one is a general meaning, which is probably the hardest one for you guys to use for your vocabulary test on Friday or quiz. but that is where, from the general information that you've put in your sentence, I can figure out what that means. So just to recap, there are 4 main types of context clues that you can use. We can use, and I know I keep going back here, but I want to make sure that I get this. You can use examples. So for Friday, you can use examples when you are writing your sentences. You can use synonyms. Put a synonym of the word in the sentence. You can do antonyms, but be sure if you're using antonyms that you're also using these words such as however, but, yet, or other words to show that it is not the same meaning. And then the 4th one is the general meaning, which again I think is the hardest one to use for this type of assignment. I hope that going over some of these examples on different types of context clues will help you not only with your reading in The Giver, but I hope that it will also help you as you are working on your quiz on Friday. I hope you guys have a great day. I will see you soon.